I said something about worship leaders. They have this next gear holleration oil in their throat. And I felt like he had this. Hello! Welcome to season 26 of the Pitchy Podcast. We are your hosts.
It ain't no season 26 of the Pitchy Podcast. It's season 26 of NBC's The Voice. It's season...
No, but we're your hosts, James
and Stephanie.
Here on the Pitchy Podcast, we are passionate about good music and a great vocal. We'll use the vehicle of NBC's The Voice to give you our take on each contestant's vocal and overall performance. Here on the Pitchy Podcast, we'll keep it 100 with our feedback and critiques of each contestant's vocal and overall performance. But what we're never here to do is come for anyone's character or any contestant as a human being. Although, we may come off a little you hear that whistle? Pitchy at times, if you know what I mean. We'll do our best to speak our truths with love, kindness, and respect. And with that, let's get it started.
Hey!
Stephanie, welcome back to, what is this, our fifth season of the Pitchy Podcast? Fifth season of the Pitchy Podcast, season 26 of The Voice. Y'all, we are back.
Guess who's back?
Back
better again.
Than ever. With some new stuff. Be sure to check us out on that Patreon. Subscribe to our Patreon, please.
Yes.
With that bonus content. I think you'll like some of that bonus content that we will be bringing y'all. A little. Yes. I wouldn't say it was a little salaciousness. You know, I'm using a big word tonight, but we do keep it real on the Patreon side. Not that we don't keep it real here.
It's pitchier.
It's a little pitchier.
Pitchier.
I got to find my notes, Steph. I don't even know where I put them.
Oh, Lord, find them, Jesus.
Don't you leave me notes. Okay.
Find them, Jesus.
All right. So you all, if you aren't familiar with the Pitchy Podcast, welcome. We are so incredibly happy to have you all here to check us out. Stephanie and I, we love to sing. We've been singing together for years, and we love watching singing together. The Pitchy Podcast came out of the pandemic where Stephanie and I, when we were all homebound, like the world was homebound,
right?
And we would start throwing each other videos back of singing competitions, and more than not, we usually would come from The Voice.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, you know what? And we would give like this crazy feedback, and then sometimes our feedback would like be identical. So then we were like, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if we ... And here we are. 5 seasons in.
5 seasons later.
We have talked to some of the most incredibly talented, incredibly gracious of contestants. And we are excited to jump into a new season with a whole bunch of new coaches and some returning.
Yes.
And the Queen, of course, being the only returner from last season.
Yes.
So here we go.
All
right, Stephanie.
Yes.
Let's start it off. Who do we have first?
Before we get started, I want to make you aware and make the audience aware of something else new this season that Carson actually revealed after the first artist, which I thought was a little interesting. But it is the coach replay button. And essentially what this is the coaches get the opportunity to basically change their mind. If an artist does not get a chair turned for them, but after talking to the artist, they're somehow compelled or somewhat compelled to want them on their team after kind of rethinking things and rethinking about the audition or just regretting not turning for whatever reason, they can press their button and snatch somebody up. So we will see that we do have one coach replay person this episode. And the coaches only get to use this once during the blinds. So one of our coaches has already used their coach replay button, and it was a good one.
You really got to think about them using this for a no chair turn,
Right.
because no chair turns, like, that's hard.
Yes.
That's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And the fact that they wind up picking them is quite amazing.
Yes.
All right, can we
Absolutely.
talk about this person who actually got it? Because I didn't take notes on this person, because I didn't think this person went through. Because y'all, I was just trying to get through. Not trying. I was happily getting through the singers to trying to catch up with Stephanie, so we could start recording on time. We are doing this right after the show ends. For those of you that have never watched the Pitchy Podcast. So we really haven't had time to marinate, but Stephanie and I are copious note takers. So I cannot wait to talk about these artists with you, my friend.
Yes,
So
I'm
let's jump
looking
right
forward
in.
to
Who
it
do
too.
we have first?
Okay, so first up was Jake Tankersley. He's from Sandy Springs, Oklahoma, 31 years old, and he sang Something in the Orange by Zach Bryan, a The Voice favorite. They love this song.
They sure do. First thing I wrote, I was like, okay, worship leader. So I'm expecting Stephanie and I are both worship leaders at our church. So we expect a certain, I don't want to use the word confidence, but just a certain presence with worship leaders, because you have the skill and you have the just confidence as a
and
worship
the opportunity
leader
of being in front of people week after week after week after week
and connecting. First, the thing that I wrote about him, the thing I wrote about Jake, I said, wow, what range. I said something about worship leaders. They have this next gear holleration oil in their throat. And I felt like he had this. I felt like Jake had this. But the thing about Jake that made him so special that I've never heard on any other artist on this show, like any other artist over the 5 seasons that we've been watching now, I said, Jake tells the story with his range. And that's rare.
No, that is rare.
You get me, Steph?
No, I
Most do it with
completely.
their tone, their volume, their inflection, but range? I felt like it was like almost different characters he was singing when he was telling the story. I said, this is special. I don't even know if Jake knows that he does this, and I hope Jake do, because it was so special. I said almost 2 different voices. I said, that's crazy. I don't think I've ever heard anyone sing with their range. Like, you don't hear that often.
Not storytell with their range, no.
No. Like the way he told the story. I thought it was brilliant. And I immediately was like transfixed, because I was like, he's doing this range stuff.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. You know who does it? Callie Day. Callie Day,
who was
the internet sensation. Check her out, y'all. She is an internet sensation, has a very operatic gospel voice. And she, you know the one that went viral, right? Stephanie, and then just goes through a range and then takes it up to super soprano one note. Yeah, that's why it's so special. You don't hear it that often.
Yeah,
Stephanie.
That's good. So I thought that he had a brilliant audition, and this is why.
Yeah.
One thing that artists have to understand is that they have to make some kind of impact right away, especially for these blind auditions. And whether they do it by song choice or whether they use their actual vocal, it's really, it can hide any nervousness if you have some kind of a gimmick. And gimmick sounds like a bad word, but it's really not. It's being strategic about what you're doing in these auditions. And what Jake did was he started with his lows. And I thought that was brilliant, because it was so captivating. It drew you in, right? You're looking for something to draw you in right away. And that's exactly what it did. And it made some of the coaches turn right away. It made Gwen actually blocked Reba because she was like, "Oh no, I
Yeah,
got to have him,
oh,
and
heck
I
no.
need to get rid of somebody that he might choose. I need to have him." Um, I thought that once he got into the belt part of his voice, I had chills. I was like,
Yeah, it
"Oh
was
my
crazy.
gosh!" Like what the lows were so rich and very Johnny Cash like, which using my The Voice app, I saw that Johnny Cash is one of his favorite artists. Not surprising because that's what I was
Yeah.
feeling. But then when he got to his
Yeah, if he sings Johnny
chest
Cash,
voice,
it's gonna be over.
right.
It's gonna
Once he
be
got
over.
to
If he sings Ring of
that
Fire, it's gonna be over.
yes. Once he got to the belt part and just let it go, I was like,
Which Cash does
"Oh,
not have. With Cash didn't have in
no.
his throat.
No." So I was not expecting that from him.
Yeah.
He definitely has that storyteller quality. I called it a storytelling cowboy. But
Yeah.
you described it perfectly because he used his tone and he used the range of the vocal to tell the story. It was such a smart and impactful audition. I loved it.
One of the few other artists, legendary R&B singer who would use their range to tell a story, Luther Vandross.
There you go.
I mean, come on, dude. I'm putting you in the same category as the male voice of like all time.
That's right.
And I hope you've heard of him, Jake. If not, you gotta check him out.
Oh, I'm sure he has. I'm sure
Yeah,
he has.
because you picked Snoop.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I told it, but I love that he picked Snoop.
I did too. I did too. That made me happy. That made me happy.
But
That made
you
me
could,
happy.
how could you? The man gave Snoop. When I say the man, he gave the most
Yes, he did.
compelling pitch.
Yes.
I would have
Yes.
Snoop pitch anything for me. It's just he's an incredible pitch man. He's
Yes, he
incredible.
is. Yes, he is.
It's great. Him and
Fantastic.
Buble were like, it was like a heavyweight battle for pitch, right?
And Buble looked like he was going to cry during the audition. Like he was
Yeah,
so touched by this man's vocal. It was
yeah,
wonderful to see.
crazy,
Mhm.
awesome. Okay, so the next one was our leak.
Mhm.
We always get a leak, especially in every season that we've done. We've gotten a leak to start the show.
Yes.
And Stephanie and I had a ball talking about this one last week when it leaked. So who do we have, Steph?
We have Sofronio Vasquez from the Philippines, 31 years old. This man saying, "I'm going down. I'm going down." And I'm gonna say that it's the Murray J version because that's my version. James knows of another version. My only version is from Mary J. Blige.
Time on my hands.
Oh,
So Rolls Royce was the band that originally sang this from the movie, and it was written for the movie. It was on the soundtrack from a 1970s blaxploitation movie. I'm giving a little history called
yes.
Car Wash.
Car
And I
wash.
have loved the song. But the Murray version was the Mary J. Blige version
All
was
right.
the very first version I ever heard that came out in the mid 90s. And woo, Mary put her stamp on this song.
Hey.
So it's always crazy to me, Steph, how folks from other countries, and like Steph said, he's from the Philippines, sing with a perfect American accent. I wish we did that as Americans, would sing other people's song with a perfect whatever accent.
Yes.
But that
Oh,
just shows the influence, the worldly influence on American music.
right.
And y'all, if you don't know anything about the Philippines, y'all, the Filipino folks can sing.
Sing it down.
You got to like see, like they're always being shown on TikToks
Yes.
and Instagram reels. I mean, they're going to the mall. They're never far. A lot of them, it's very cultural. They're never far from a karaoke machine.
Right.
And I'm talking about entire families. They'll take turns at the mic and
That's
just
right.
sing it down.
Down.
And this and Sofrino, he is no exception. I was like, but here's the thing, Stephanie, and we had this discussion last week. I was like, it's good until he opened his voice up towards the end of the song, y'all. I said, then I went from good to exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I Stephanie and I had this conversation. I said, with a song like I'm Going Down, I want to hear the desperation when I hear this song because of the context of the song. Song context is everything for a 70s soul song that originally was then redone in the 90s. I said, I didn't get the desperation until he opened his voice. Literally, he opened his voice up. Went to another gear, I felt.
Yes, he did.
Like his voice, the color changed, the vibrato changed.
There was a shifting.
Was toleration, as Stephanie always says. I said, I heard the begging. I heard the pleading. I heard everything I wanted to hear on the back half of this song. I even loved, now something I love that he did from start to finish is he was very respectful of the melody of this song. Not too many runs. I thought the runs were very respectful.
Yes.
His vibrato was a little different for me, like in the front half of the song, but when he opened that voice up, when he said ah 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 ah, I did a very bad rendition of it, y'all. I can really sing. For those of you who don't know, I can sing a little bit, but but he did this crazy I'm going down, and his vibrato slowed down, and I just was like, that's what I'm looking for. And he was like, like begging, pleading, I'm going down. Like, this is a desperation song, you all. And I got it. So, Mr. Vasquez, on the back half of that song, you had me. I said, now, that's somebody who's going to go deep in this competition. You keep singing like that, young man. Incredible job. Stephanie?
Absolutely. I heard Bruno Mars in his throat. I was like, oh, we got Bruno. Just the soul. He had like this soul R&B but pop mix in his voice. And I think that that's what I heard at the beginning of the performance. The audition is more of like a pop kind of R&B mix of this song. Listen, point blank period, I hear that intro music, boom, 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 boom. I'm good. All I need for you to do is sing it decent. Give me a good time on my hands.
Because of that song.
Yes, just give me a decent time on my hands and I would have bopped to, just like Snoop did. Here's what was interesting, though. It's so interesting, James, to hear the backstory of these folk, because it really kind of puts in perspective more of the full audition. So, yes, this is a song of desperation, okay? I'm going down. You don't even need no more context to the song to understand that this song is sad and desperate. It sounds like Sofronio was coming from a place of a little bit of desperation in his situation and circumstance, especially in the Philippines.
One room house. All stuff on the floor.
There was just like a lot going on. And even coming over here to the States, it seems like it has not been easy. And it felt like this might have been a situation where The Voice experience is an avenue and a door to a better life, not only for him, but his family.
Absolutely.
So I felt like once them chairs turned, it went from desperation to like reflection and joy. Like, we not in this desperate situation no more. There was like almost a joyful freedom to this song, which I've not heard that angle of it, but it really gave us a release. It felt like it released him to allow him to do his, as some of our artist friends have said, good singing. And it was just really powerful by the back end. Like James said, the front end was great. The back end, I was like, hallelujah. It was so good. It was so
World famous diva, Maria Callas said everything that the composer of a song, as far as emotion, they've written it in the music of the song. It's a perfect example of that song. When you, so I'll take one part of the song where it's
my whole
world's up. Down. Yeah. So you're like, I'm almost nope. It's my whole world's up, flip side
And then
down.
you left me down.
Yep, gone. And it's just it's a perfectly written song. Stephanie and I could talk about it all night, but we don't have time.
No, not
Awesome
tonight.
job. 4-chair turn, right?
Yes.
Who do you pick?
Mr. Bublé.
Good.
Mr. Bublé.
You can tell Michael is a technician, and he's gonna really. I think he's gonna really work with him because I think Michael heard what we heard with the opening up of his voice. And he's like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work with that." Yeah. I think that's your voice, Sofronio. I really think that's your voice. The back half of that song.
Oh, that's his voice. We gonna see
where
more
you
of
need
that.
to stay.
We gonna see more of that.
You ain't doing no cute singing. They call.
No.
I know you're from the Philippines. I don't know if you've heard that term. You know, it's like, oh, that was cute.
Yeah, What
that means is, oh, that was nice.
That was nice.
That's pretty.
That was cute.
But no,
yeah, that was nice.
No.
Nah.
What you did on the back end, they're like, you sang that down, boy.
Right.
Yeah, that was good.
Right.
All right, Steph, who we got next?
Next, we have Jan Dan from Newark, New Jersey, 29 years old, and he sang Almost Doesn't Count by Brandy. I can't keep on. Ooh. Whoa.
All right. So I don't remember. I'm trying to remember his mother's song because I know his mom.
We're playing basketball.
I don't know if she sang the original of that though. She may have.
They was making it sound like she was the original.
Okay, she did the original vocal on that. That song is iconic. Curtis Blow? I think that was like Curtis Blow from the 80s.
Oh, maybe then she did like a remake or whatever because she did it with So Def. She did it with So Def.
I was like, I don't know. Was So Def around then? I don't know.
Oh no. Then she must have did a remake or whatever.
The original of it was with, I think, Curtis Blow's UTFO.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Blow.
Okay.
Yeah, like early 80s.
Oh, okay.
Hip hop. Y'all, if I got that wrong, please correct me.
Yes,
my brother would kill me because he is a hip hop aficionado. Okay.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah, Almost Doesn't Count. Brandy. I said he had a very unique tone. Y'all, this is a perfect example of where song choice will get you so far in this competition.
Yeah.
Because I think, who turned around? Gwen and Michael? I think it was.
I think those are the two.
Gwen and Michael were the two that turned around, and they hit that thing quick. It's because this is one of Brandy's best songs, y'all.
Yes.
And I think Gwen and Michael were feeling something with the song.
Yeah.
I think that's why they turned. Because it was a little pitchy for me, Stephanie. And I was like, sir, watch your runs. Agenda, watch your runs and watch your range. I think it's a great song choice, but not necessarily the best song choice for you. I want to hear you sing other songs because I hear a voice in there. I hear a really good voice in there. I just don't think that was the best song choice for you as an artist or as a singer. And I can't wait to hear because he is moving on. I can't wait to hear what he's doing in the battles because I think it's going to be like even what Gwen did for him, right? To have him sing it again, it improved it. But you need to be very careful about your pitch, and runs need to be intentional. They're ornamental, unless you're like Jasmine Sullivan or who's somebody that runs crazy, or Tori Kelly. They're one of the few that it doesn't need to be ornamental. And I just think a song like Almost Doesn't Count. I need all melody. That song is so iconic. For Brandy, I need all melody. But I can't wait to hear you in the battles, sir. So good job. Awesome job. And congratulations on the baby. The baby's probably born now. So congratulations.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You and your wife.
Yeah, this song is really difficult to just sing the melody because if you hear what Brandy does, she's hardly ever singing the melody. Brandy isn't. Her Brandy vocal background is singing the melody, but
And
Brandy is
Jasmine
doing
Sullivan looks up to Brandy for her runs.
exactly. But anybody that sings the song like me, I'm hardly ever singing the melody because Brandy is doing so many things to it. So in that respect, it's really hard to do a song like this because you're pretty much going to do a copycat that kind of sounds like you're adding a bunch of runs and stuff to it, but you're really not because that's what Brandy's doing. That's what makes this a hard song choice. So what's interesting, well, first of all, before I say that, I thought it was hilarious. Snoop was singing the entire time. And I thought that was hilarious. I was like, he probably can't even hear Jan Dan singing because he over there singing the entire song, which I found hilarious. This is one of my favorite songs, so I would have been singing the whole thing too.
Of course you would have.
What's interesting is that at the time of listening to this during the show, in my mind, I was like, I hear the R&B artist Mario in his throat. I hear a little bit of Mario tone. So I think that a song like Let Me Love You, you should let me love you, let me be the one to. I think that would have been a better audition song maybe because that does give that melody. And then
Sorry, I'm
for y'all listening, James was really getting his groove on, and like that song took him to a place. But that song would have gave him the perfect balance of like a lot of just singing the melody, but also being able to like do some runs and do some other things to it, maybe at the back end.
I need some Neo.
You need some Neo? Okay.
I need him to sing some Neo.
Oh, Neo would be good too.
Yeah.
Neo would be really good
I think
too.
Neo would be great in his voice.
Oh, that's a good suggestion as well. Yeah. There were a lot of good pieces to that song. Like I was like, oh, I like that choice. I like that tone. I like that belt. So I'm really interested to hear him in the next round, just like you said in the battles. And again, congratulations on the baby. And congratulations for making it to the show. James, who did Jan Dan pick
Gwen
as his coach?
Gwen,
yes.
I think Gwen's going to help you find your voice and find your artistry. You know, Gwen's all about helping you find your artistry.
She will do that.
Yeah.
She will do that.
There was someone else I'm glad Gwen picked too. I'm really glad Gwen picked. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. All right, who's next?
Next up, we had Danny Joseph. He is 37 years old, originally from London, England, but now living in Dallas, Texas. And he sang I Put a Spell on You by Annie Lennox.
So first of all, Danny, wow, what a story. I hope your health is well.
Yes.
Because I know these blinds are taped months in advance. Mm-hmm. So we really do hope your health is well.
Yes.
I said, y'all, listen, if you want to write a book on how to grab a coach, how to grab, like instantly take somebody by the collar and pull them and say, you will turn for me.
Right.
Listen to Danny Joseph's audition, you all. I said, he grabbed him. I said, oh, Stephanie knows how I love me good dramatics, right?
Yes.
I said, and then here's the thing, Danny Joseph, you had the nerve to get up there and shred. Like, I was like, really? You're going to do this today? You're really going to give me those types of vocals and you're going to sit there and shred and stand there like ain't nothing really going on?
That's right.
Dude was shredding. I think one of the strongest guitar players next to, what was our boy from Georgia a few seasons ago who played that guitar?
Jamar.
Jamar. I said, I heard shredding like that since Jamar, because Jamar shred like that.
Yes.
I said, I love the holler. There was one part where he was like hollering and switched it to that light falsetto, like in the same note. Did you catch that? And I was like, yo, I said, dude, you're a star.
Yes.
Like was it, you look like a star.
Yes.
You walk like a star. You get up there and sing like a star. Yes. I was mesmerized. I was mesmerized by not just the vocal, but just his whole aura. Right?
Yeah.
I said, he was as strong a guitar player as he was singer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that often on this show.
No.
I thought he had the coolest vibrato.
Yeah.
And it looked effortless.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like he was just up there doing the doggone thing. I said,
Right.
some folks were just born to be on the stage, and
Absolutely.
Danny Joseph, dude, that is you. So
Absolutely.
we pray that your health is well. We really do, because
Yes.
we want to see you go far in this competition. Because, boy, you want to talk about a crazy audition? That was bananas.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. His voice was so interesting. It would have been interesting to put myself in the position of a coach and like heard him with my eyes closed, because he almost sounded unreal.
Yeah,
he almost sounded unreal.
Mesmerized, right?
He almost sounded unreal. His voice had such a tone and a rasp that it almost sounded like a studio created sound, right?
His voice had electricity.
It had electricity.
That's the word. Thank you, Lord. He just downloaded that. He had electricity.
He did. And it was so interesting because if I remember correctly, it took the coaches a minute to turn for him, because I think that they were trying to figure it out.
What's really happening?
What is really happening here? And then
it was so cool.
And then his voice did these falsetto back into chest voice things, and he did these runs, and the passion that he sang with. Now, this is another first as far as auditions go that I can remember. I don't remember an artist ever doing a full-on duet with their guitar the way he did.
It was crazy.
They were duetting. He was duetting with his guitar.
Honestly, he was so good. He could session with the band.
Absolutely.
At first, I thought it was my man on the guitar in the band. No,
no, it was him. It was him.
The guitar player in the band was strumming. No, that was Danny Joseph.
And how bold of him to do that, because that took some time away from the vocal, right? And they never know. They have a sense, I think the coaches do, as to when an artist is playing an instrument or whether it's just the band. But I think that they could tell that he was playing, and I think that they were just so much like, what is all this deliciousness going on? Yeah, the experience. So I'm really glad.
It reminded me of...
Really glad that he got a chair turn.
Watching him play reminded me of watching Prince play.
Yes, no, 1000%.
It was just such confidence.
Oh yeah,
and
it was like
home. I put Prince up against any guitar player. I put him up against any. What's the famous saying? Somebody asked Eric Clapton, who is known as one of the greatest guitarists of our time. Who's the greatest guitarist of all time? He said, I don't know. Ask Prince.
Ask Prince. There you go. There you go.
Crazy. Yes. Crazy. Can't wait to see. I'm looking for him every week now to see what he does. Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So who did he pick? I don't remember.
He picked Reba.
He sure did. Smart. He picked Reba. Smart.
And great pickup for Reba.
Yeah. Reba was like,
very
what?
Good pickup.
Reba was shocked.
Yeah, she was like, wait, me? Yes, you, Reba.
All right, so next we had Torre Blake.
Yes.
Oh
my! I'm feeling
definitely our '90s kids, y'all. We're '90s kids, and when we hear the queen of neo soul, in the Erykah Badu. Because people like Erykah just doesn't sing too often on these shows.
It took me a minute to figure out what the song was, James. Like I was singing along, and I was like, "Wait," because I was like, "Wait, what is this?" Because we don't hear Erykah on these shows.
Scared. I immediately got very scared. Okay. Okay. Because I'm just going to go right in. I'm not sure if I would have picked this song, and I'm not sure about the choices vocally that Torre made.
Okay.
The song, Stephanie, is so specific, and it's one of our favorites, of all time. I said, I think her voice is great, and I want to hear her on a different song. I would have turned around for her, but I would have been like, okay, can you sing something else. Like, I would ask for something
Yeah.
else. I really
Yeah.
would have.
Yeah.
I think the people that turned for her were the perfect people to turn in Snoop and Gwen, because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
both of them, exclusively exclusively would have been a great choice, because they would have helped her with her number one vocal identity
Mm-hmm.
and her vocal selections.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which I think once she figures out her vocal identity and she chooses the right songs, or
Mm-hmm.
the right songs are chosen for her, I think she can make a deep run in this competition. Because I heard such a great voice. I really did. I just would not have picked that song, and I would have not choices vocally done some of the things that she did with that song. But that's just me. I'm the song I hold very near and dear to my heart. I know Stephanie does too, because it's like, this is like, y'all, we're like Blue Blade and John Legend when it comes to like
Right.
90s
Right.
R&B,
Right.
like like,
Right.
ooh,
These are like coveted songs, coveted
yes,
songs.
like that, some of the greatest songs of our youth. Okay, Stephanie.
So while I agree with you about song choice, I think song choice aided in Snoop turning for her.
I would
Because
agree with you.
he was like,
I know that song.
I know that. So yeah, I think it was a smart choice because of that.
He's like, I didn't burn incense to that song. I did something else.
A little something else. Yes, something a little stronger. It was interesting to me to hear somebody with a lower timbre of a voice sing the song, because Erica has kind of like a higher, more high-pitched
Like a
timbre
little
to
bit
her
more
voice.
Billie Holiday,
Yeah,
whiny.
I feel like Erica's voice sits up higher and Tori's voice was a little bit lower. It reminded me of if Layla Hathaway were to sing this song, because it was lower, but it had all the husk, but the jazz inflection to it. I would be interested to know how much Tori sings, like in front of people. Like if she's on stages a
It was
lot or
almost
just a little.
apologetic, huh?
It was a little apologetic. I felt like she was losing her breath. I felt like she was getting caught up in the moment of things a bit. So her breath control wasn't the greatest. I did hear really good quality in her voice. Like the she has a more interesting voice that I've heard tonight. Um and we don't hear very many people with that jazz inflection in their voice on this show. So I would be interested to hear in the next round in the battles if her voice continues to have those jazz inflections in it, or not. But I love that she picked the song because I love the song. However, the song is a very difficult song to do because it is so stylistically specific. But she got two people to turn for her. So I thought that was great. And I can't wait to see more of her.
And she wound up picking.
Did she pick Snoop? Hold on.
I think so.
No, she did. She picked Snoop.
Yeah.
She picked Snoop.
Oh, yeah, because Snoop was talking to her dad, who was a former
Yes.
NFL player. Yeah.
Yes. She picked Snoop.
Yes, she picked Snoop. Like I said, the right two people turned for her.
Yes.
Because they're going to help her with those two things that I think are going to have her. She's another one. I want to hear what she's going to do in the battles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. So next we had two.
Next we had Kendall Eugene, 37 years old, from Fort Worth, Texas. And he sang Don't Think Jesus by Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen, who was a former contestant on this show.
Yes.
So you know what? I thought it was just great. I thought it was a great, honest performance.
Yeah.
I hear range. I see storytelling. He's got the look of a star. I felt like there was a quiet confidence about him in his singing. So I was shocked when the chairs did not turn.
Right.
Because I was like, okay, this guy is, in my opinion, I thought he's everything that The Voice wants in a contestant.
Yeah.
From what I've learned over the several seasons that I've watched.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I was a little perplexed
Mm-hmm.
as to why they did not turn.
Mm-hmm. I think
Stephanie?
that they didn't turn because I felt like when he was in his lower range, it was a little shaky. Like there was a little tuning, as they like to say. There was some tuning going on. But oh my God, once he got to his chest voice and that upper extension and that belt, it was magical. And I was just like, I could hear this guy on the radio. Like it was just, he soared when he was singing those choruses. And just like you, when the chairs did not turn, I was just kind of like, oh man, like he had a really great voice. And I felt like he might have just been a little bit nervous in those lower parts of his voice. That's why they were a little bit shaky and whispery or whatever. But I felt like the upper extension was more than enough to get somebody to turn for him, especially like a Reba maybe or a Gwen. But yeah, the story did not end there. They started talking to Kendall, and as they were talking, Reba was like, I really don't know why I didn't turn. Now I really don't know why I didn't turn. I really feel like I should have turned for you. And like I said at the top of the show, the coaches all had the opportunity and have the opportunity during the blinds to rethink their decision. If someone is not turned for, but then they start to talk to them and they have a change of heart, they are allowed to use this coach replay button. And let me tell you something. It ain't a coincidence that this happened when Mr. Kendall was singing a song that had the name of Jesus in it. Because Jesus turned that thing around. See, you call on the name of Jesus whether you think you are or whether you don't even know. And because it's
He will
not
shift
because
the atmosphere.
listen, he shifted that atmosphere. He turned something in Miss Reba's heart, and she said, I got to have you on my team. So Kendall Eugene is a part of Team Reba. And let me tell you, James, you got to go back. If you recorded this, or if you can look it up on YouTube or something, you have got to watch, because the way that man sobbed, because I don't know if any of the artists, I don't know if the artist knew that this was an option. If you don't get a chair turn, you done. Like that's how it's been for the past 25 seasons. So he thought he was done. And when she said, I want you on my team, he was sobbing, Snoop was sobbing, Gwen was sobbing. It was a moment. It was beautiful. So I'm glad he's getting another opportunity to show off his gift.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great story. Great backstory too.
Mm-hmm.
Great backstory.
Yes.
I love that he still is in touch with his biological son. That was just great.
Isn't that cool?
Great.
Come on. Yes.
Okay. So who is next? Is this Kiara?
Yes, this is Kiara Vega, 18 years old, from Tampa, Florida, and she sang Amor Eternal. And I'm not going to try to say the name of the artist, unfortunately, but it was a beautiful song.
I said she's Boricua, Puerto Rican, from Tampa, Florida.
Yes.
Florida.
Florida.
I said, what a voice. I said, what a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the singer from who lived in Miami last season but was from either Venezuela or Colombia? Mafe.
Yes.
I was like, what a voice. Like, seriously. Yes. And I'm just not saying that because they were both Latin, but they have very similar sounds. Like, especially because they both auditioned with Spanish songs. And it's a risk. It is a risk.
Yes, it
because
is.
you gotta be able to emote, y'all.
That's right.
To be able to emote. But the first thing I said, I was like, this young girl's, because she's not she is a young woman. This 18-year-old voice, I said, it's like clay. It can go any direction. It's that special.
Yep.
I said, give this girl any song.
Yep.
I think Mugler said the phone book or whatever. Give her
Yeah.
anything. And
Like
she's
my
going to
Faye.
slay it. She's going to
Just like
slay
my
it.
Faye. Yep.
I said, I love that she took the risk and sang with such passion and conviction in Spanish. I said, didn't understand. I know enough Spanish to be dangerous, so I didn't understand about half of what she was singing. I said, but I understood what she was singing about. Right? What? Why
Said
you
I
laugh?
know enough Spanish to be
I
dangerous.
do. I know. Um, I said, she's just
It's
going to get
hilarious.
better and better and more confident. I said, Michael, oh, I just gave it away. Well, Michael,
That's
I
all
said,
right.
is a great choice and will really focus on the crooning part of her voice because Michael's a crooner,
That's what he
right?
do. That's what he
So,
do.
because she's gonna be, she's got the holleration. She's got,
Yes.
I think Michael's gonna work on the pullback of her voice, and
Yeah.
she's gonna make a deep run, y'all. Don't sleep on her. Don't sleep on Kiara Vega. Don't do it. That's a voice. That's a voice. Definitely.
Kiara, she ain't never sang on a stage before. How'd she get up on that stage and sing like that? And she ain't never sang on the stage before. Okay. This was, oh my word. It was beautiful. I always love when someone comes and sings their heart language on the
Yeah.
show and they're not scared to do so. And I believe that Mr. Bublé is married to someone of
Argentinian.
Spanish. Okay, so
Yep.
there you go. So he was like,
that's why he knows.
he perked up real.
Michael is conversational Spanish. Like
No, absolutely.
he's really good, and I'm proud of him because I think he speaks fluent French too.
Okay.
But yeah,
Trilingual. All right.
He better be.
She there's not much more to say than what you said. It was she almost had like even a little yodel in her voice. I was like, what is this voice doing? And like you said, she won't be able to sing anything. She gonna be able to. All she needed was this opportunity. Moldable. Yep.
Moldable.
So good. So good.
She's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this next artist, I'm going to keep a poker face because I want your opinion first. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I want your feedback first, and then I will give you my feedback. Stephanie?
So
sorry. Not sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So it was so interesting, James. When she opened up her mouth, I'm going to be 100% honest with you what I heard. I heard a white lady that's a little bit older than me. And I was just like, what is this voice coming out of her? There
I'm telling myself in my head, James, stop reacting.
Michael said it best. Michael said it best. Like there's like this pixie aspect to it, like a twinkle, like a brightness. Definitely a singer-songwriter tone, definitely a unique tone. One that I think it took them a while to turn for her because they thought that she was different than what she was.
Did you hear her? Was she in your good ear, Steph?
Yes, she was.
Okay, I cannot. Shut up, James.
Yes, she was. I was just like this. I was not expecting that voice to come out of her head. Come out of her head. I was not expecting that voice to come out of her body. I was so intrigued by it. It was one of the most unique voices of the night, in my opinion. Definitely singer-songwriter. I could hear her on Lilith Fair. And I don't know if I would have turned for her based on who I thought she might have been. To be honest with you, because there was a bit of
how old is she, Steph?
16. 16. And
I wasn't sure about the nationality either. Her nationality?
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think it said it somewhere. So when you talk, I'll look it up.
Okay.
But there was a inexperienced quality to it that I would have chalked up to not quite being good enough, thinking that she was older. I'm so glad chairs turned for her. I'm so glad chairs turned for her because she needed chairs to turn for her. What did you think?
Okay. Um, ChrisDeo,
Oh, Trinidad and Tobago and
Guyana.
Guyana.
So she's Trini and Guyanian.
Yes.
So she's West
She
Indian.
sang she sang I Won't Give Up on Us, which is the song that Dylan Carter sang a
Yes.
season or two ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I loved her before she even sang.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
What a story. And I gotta applaud The Voice because you did not feel sorry for her.
No.
It could have been a woe is me story, right? But it wasn't. I get chills. I'm getting chills.
This baby could not play on the piano in her own home because the neighbor was pounding on her wall.
It's the innocence of youth,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw a fight in her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of oxymoronic, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like I say it's the perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the power truly is in the struggle.
And maybe that's what I heard, James. Now that you're saying that, there's like an innocence because there was like this pixie aspect, but there was like this older aspect that is maturity and fight.
Yeah. I said her voice got me emotional. It's the only one of the night that got me emotional in my feelings in a good way. And this is why. And Stephanie said it perfectly, but I'm going to get even more specific. I said, what in the Lisa Loeb, Dolores O'Riordan, who's the head singer of the Cranberries?
Yes.
I said, what? Who has since gone on to glory?
Yes.
I said, what? I said, but it's raw.
Raw.
Because, to Stephanie's point, Stephanie said, if I didn't turn around, I wouldn't have turned around because I thought it was like unpolished.
Yes. Yes.
But it's pure.
Yes.
Rawness.
Yes. Yep.
And normally raw on a show like this does not work. But to me, I thought it made it even more compelling. And to Stephanie's point, Stephanie, you said it so brilliantly, they had to turn around.
They had to turn. They have no choice.
I said, of anyone who sang tonight, and we're about to talk about someone who just the competition honestly could have ended if we're talking about music of today, of the next person, of the person who closed the show. But I said, of anyone who sang tonight, I said she, in my opinion, has the most potential.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I said it's limitless. I said it is limitless.
Right.
I said just exponentially fantastic. I thought this was. I said I cannot wait to see where she goes beyond this show.
Right.
This is a voice that you don't hear anymore. You don't. You've got to understand it.
Right.
I said, you just don't hear these voices. She said, Lilith Fair. I mean, you don't.
No.
The singers aren't coming out. Singers are coming out like Taylor and Olivia and Billy. You know, like our next artist. Not taking anything away from Sydney. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Not taking anything away from Sydney because Sydney was brilliant.
Yes.
But ChrisDeo and made it because, again, you got to understand the context of me and Stephanie. We were 90s kids, right?
That's right.
So when I hear a voice that literally, like Kim's did.
Mm-hmm. Yes, transports you.
Transported me back to just an age of innocence.
Yes. Yes.
Where every song on the radio was good.
Yes. Yes.
It transported me back to that time. Yep. And you got to understand, if y'all don't know Lisa Loeb blew up because she wrote a song called You Say. and she was not signed. The
Yeah.
song went number one. She's the first unsigned artist in the history of music, in the history of the
Wow.
charts, to go number one being unsigned.
Wow.
That's how that song took off, and it was from the
Yeah.
movie, I think, Reality Bites.
Uh-huh.
It's a big Gen X film.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and if you don't know that song, go back and listen to that song. It's
Mm-hmm.
a song. The first time you hear it, you'll just be like pulled into it. So
Yeah.
if they have this girl singing these songs this season, I'm gonna be done, Stephanie.
Right.
Like it's like
Right.
the tears will just start flowing.
Right.
Because nostalgia, you all, she's ChrisDeo, her story combined with the rawness of a voice you don't hear anymore. And you look at her and you're like, she's this little, and then to see her, like, she held it together enough.
Yep.
But then when she got done singing, it's like all
Let
the
go.
emotions, like
That's
everything just poured out of her.
Yes.
And she's like,
Yes.
y'all don't understand. People, it's
She
messing me
said,
up.
people laugh at me when I sing.
And then what Snoop said,
she
that's
said
why
they
I
ain't
said,
gonna be
y'all,
laughing no more.
y'all check out the Patreon and you'll, Stephanie and I talk about why Snoop was so special. Check it out, y'all. Please check it out. Yeah, Snoop was like, you take all that.
Yep.
And it doesn't. Kelly Clarkson said it best. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's right. That's right.
This girl, I cannot wait. I just really hope Stephanie, because the voice is so specific, I really pray that they pick the right stuff for her.
Oh, I do too.
Because if they do, she could win it. She could win it. Because
absolutely.
Because they also like a voice that evolves on this show, and
yes.
I just think her voice is nothing but evolution.
Yes,
her
absolutely.
voice is evolution. It really is.
Yes, absolutely.
She is early Earth. Ooh, come on! Where'd you give me that one?
Hey,
she is early Earth.
Hey,
raw, strong,
fight,
innocence, but masterpiece. That's why I wanted to hear you first. I was like, I'm pretty sure Steph heard what I heard. But I just
they had to turn for her. They had to turn for her. For her.
ChrisDeo chose Snoop, right?
Snoop Dogg. Yeah, Snoop.
Ooh,
absolutely.
Huge pickup.
Yes.
He is going to be perfect for her.
Yes.
He is literally going to cultivate her.
Absolutely.
Because he saw it. He saw what we saw.
He saw it and he heard it.
He saw and heard what we saw. Yeah. I think Gwen was the only one who didn't turn for her, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Because I think she was a 3-chair turn.
Yeah. And Snoop ain't going to let her stay in her situation no matter what happens on the show.
I know Blue Blade heard it.
Oh, yeah.
Know it.
Yeah.
But see, I'm kind of mad because I think Gwen would have been a great. I don't know why Gwen didn't. I think Gwen would have helped her find her.
I think Gwen didn't know that she was young.
Yeah. I think she got because Gwen's a '90s singer, right? Like Gwen blew up. Not saying Gwen has been, she's had a 30-year career now, but she blew up in the '90s. So it's like she's like, oh. A kind of unpolished '90s voice. Okay.
Right.
Well,
right.
She's okay. But then she turned around like,
she was like, ah.
All right. So our final artist of the night was
Sydney Sterlace, 15 years old from Buffalo, New York. Singing Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo.
I love this song. I love it.
Oh, me too.
It's one of those songs that when it comes on the radio, like my 15-year-old daughter introduced me to it when it came out a few years ago. And every time it came on the radio, I always found it like, it was like, I call it like the Forrest Gump of music, where like Forrest Gump was that type of movie where whenever it was on TV, it didn't matter where it was in the movie, I would stay on it and just watch it.
Right.
So I love this song. I think Olivia just wrote, it's just a brilliantly written song. I think it tells the story of teenage angst. We've all been there where, some of us may have stalked and driven by somebody's house, when we were that age. It's just a great song.
Yes.
Here's the thing about Sydney. I said, "Oh, I could just tell. Like, you could tell before somebody even sings. She was like, somebody's about to
Like,
rock this stage." I said it was like hearing Billy for the first time, and when I say
yeah,
Billy, I'm talking about Billy, not Holiday, Eilish for
the
the first
Eilish.
time. I said, she's ready. It's over. She's ready. It's over. But I do understand why, because y'all, she's 15, so she's super young, but super pro, super
Mm-hmm.
probably will be one of the strongest vocalists of the season. She's going to go deep in the competition.
Right.
But I understand the artists are like, they know how incredible she is, but they really want her to find her own voice and her own sound.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad. I won't say who. I'll let Stephanie do it. But I'm really glad she picked who she picked,
Big
because I know
pickup.
the huge pickup for this
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
But what's your take? I was like, she's ready. It's over. That's all I
Well,
wrote.
based on, like you explained, based on knowing this show, when she was last, I was like, well,
Right.
let me just sit here and enjoy because I know.
Sure.
I already know.
That's why I didn't take notes. I was like,
Right. Like I
that's
already know. Um, the maturity of her voice was insane. The vocal control of her voice was insane. The
how you
way
know how to
she
do that stuff
ha-
stylistically at that age.
that's
I don't think
natural.
it was. I didn't feel like it was a copycat.
No, it wasn't.
I
And
did.
that's what made it even more astonishing. Like
Some of them felt like it
she
was a copycat. I think though.
say that again?
I think some of the coaches felt like it was a copycat.
Oh, I didn't. I
You don't
felt
think so?
off what her rendition of the
Her
song?
rendition. There were a few things that somebody, I think it was Gwen said, like, I really want you to find
Yeah, they
your
want her to
voice.
find her own sound. I don't know how you do this with the song. Like, I think when you sing this song, you're going to automatically sound like Olivia because it's almost like the Brandy songs. Like, there's already so much texture built into these songs that it's really hard to do anything different without hurting the integrity of the song. So that's the risk you take when you sing this song. You just better sing it well, like she did. Um, she was such a professional up there. I'm like, ma'am, you 15. Yeah, how long you been
What
gigging
she
at these
say? Oh, I
at the
sing
coffee
coffee
shops?
shops.
How long you've been gigging at these coffee
Like,
shops
since you were
since you were like
two?
10? Like what? You're like an old pro.
It's like Taylor. When she came, when Taylor first came out with that, the
Right.
guitar was like bigger than her.
Right. Um the way she, especially at the end, I was like, all right, nuance. The way she was able to nuance those notes and just play. I was just like, this is 50, this is 15. Like, but I think there's room for growth. Like as incredible as she was and as she is, I think that there's room for growth. And that's even scarier. That's even scarier. Like we're gonna have to watch out for her, James. We're gonna have to watch out for her.
It's
We're gonna have to
really
watch out.
scary. It's really scary because, like you said, you don't find too often pros that young.
No,
Because I was like, okay, she's ready for the big time
she
already.
ready for the big time.
Because you think of singers like Ariana and
Mm-hmm.
who like Britney and
Mm-hmm.
Christina, who were that young when they
Right.
busted on the scene.
Right.
Like, you can't name too many.
Right.
Stephanie Mills.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking of really, really young, exceptional talents.
Yeah.
And that
One
was
many.
that was exceptional.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Wow, Stephanie. Well, it was a great, like I felt like it was a great start.
It's a great
Um,
opening.
Previous seasons, I didn't feel like openings were strong. I thought this was one of the stronger openings.
Absolutely.
You
Which
know,
bodes well for the rest of the season.
not
Because this
saying
is
that it was all because
no, but
you would have a show if it was all at the highest of caliber.
right.
But I thought the highs were really high.
I
I'm
do too.
excited already, and it's just the
I am
first
too.
episode. What about
I
you?
am too. I'm very excited. I'm very
Yeah.
excited coming out of this evening. I'm very excited because it's only going to get better. just like you articulated. It's only going to get better as the rounds go on. So if this is where we're starting, season 26 is going to be pretty incredible.
It really is.
All right. So don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Pitchy Podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you can be the first to know when we drop a new episode. Also, check us out on YouTube. Search for The Pitchy Podcast and hit that subscribe button so you know when we drop a new video. And last, do not forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Pitchy Podcast for new episode alerts, episode clips, and so much more. And check out that Patreon too.
That's what yes, how can they find us on the Patreon?
Oh, that is on the Linktree link in our Instagram bio, and it will also be in the show notes of the audio episode and the YouTube episode.
All right, you all. See you next week for episode 2 of The Blinds.
The Blinds. Bye-bye.